Hi, this is Kristy Moore. I've been selling real estate for 12 years. Our team of highly trained professionals, along with our marketing plan, has sold over 700 homes all over the DC market. And this is how we do it. Hi, this is Kristy, and today I want to talk about how do you sell a house to a buyer who's going to buy a property sight unseen. Generally, these buyers are moving from overseas or relocating from another area, and they have to buy a house quickly, and they're generally on a time crunch. So the first thing you need to understand is that you are at their beck and call. You must respond to them quickly, and you must go and take a look at properties quickly to make sure that you don't lose out on an opportunity and that you're able to get them into a house on their time frame. You're also generally going to be dealing with somebody that is in a totally different time zone, so it's important to set up times to talk so that way you are in constant contact with them and it's not at weird hours or they're calling you while you're trying to sleep or you keep missing each other. So once you've identified properties that meet their criteria, the best thing to do is either FaceTime them, or if they don't have access to some type of Zoom or FaceTime where you can do a video conference, then do a video of the property. While you're shooting the video of the property, it's important to point out any defects of the property that you notice, as well as all of the great features of the property. We all know that the internet only shows us one side of the story, so even if the pictures look great online and everything looks great online in the listing, when you get there, it might not be the case. I've sold to lots of buyers overseas, and generally doing the video while pointing out the deficiencies and showing them the great things about the property has been the best bet. You also want to talk to them about your strategy up front when you're consulting with them over the phone. So explain to them if you do notice deficiencies, how you're planning on handling them throughout the process. Like for instance, we had a buyer that was in Singapore and there were lots of things wrong with the property that we were putting an offer on, but the seller wasn't really negotiating. So we used the home inspection as the time to negotiate all those things we knew were wrong, but she wasn't willing to negotiate upfront on the price. So you want to make sure that they understand what your strategy is. You also want to make sure that they're educated on what's going on in the market. If they're not actively here and they're not actively a part of the market, they may not know what the environment is of the market. So whether it's a hot market or a cold market, whether they can negotiate a great deal, or whether or not they're going to have to pay over asking or compete with multiple offers, especially if they're in a time crunch. It's really important to understand all of the moving parts when they're operating from overseas. So you need to make sure that you're still doing a buyer consultation with them. It's generally best to do it over Skype or Zoom or FaceTime or something that's face-to-face. But if you can't do that, then still over the phone to make sure that they understand what's going on in the market and what the strategy is moving forward. Another thing to understand is that they are most likely going to be doing a home inspection without being there. So again, it's important to have a home inspector who is very well educated on home inspection items, as well as specialists that you can call in quickly to look at any further problems. And generally what I do is have a video summary at the end so that they can meet the home inspector and they can tell them from their own mouth all the things that are wrong with the property or how great the property is, so that you're not the one relaying that information. Having photos of the deficiencies as well as having a full detailed report is also very important to make sure that they understand exactly what they're getting into. I've had clients buy fixer-uppers, I've had clients buy properties that are in really good shape. The more information, the more you can show them, the more you can visually show them, the better. Another thing that's really important to understand about out-of-town buyers, especially overseas buyers, is their cash position. So if they're bringing money from overseas, sometimes they could get caught up at the treasury, sometimes they can't get the funds released in time. So it's really important that the funds are in the US and that they are actually seasoned in their bank account to make sure that there's no hiccups with the financing. It's the number one problem we have with overseas buyers is getting their funds from whatever country they're in a timely fashion to make sure that they can close on time. Also, it's important to let the lender know if they're having any funds coming from overseas so that they can properly prepare for that as well. Some lenders don't allow funds coming from other countries, or depending on how it's sourced, that makes a difference for their financing as well. Lastly, if you can find somebody who they do know and trust, like a family member or a friend that is in the area or in the United States while you're looking at properties, it's always good to have those other opinions involved as well, so that you're not finding out after the fact that they have somebody locally that also wants to look at the property, especially if it's in a highly competitive situation. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any further questions, feel free to call, text, or email me.